What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Week 6 recap. This has been a pretty crazy week with a couple of upsets. First off, fuck you, Ashton, because you're a piece of shit. He beats me 89.7 to 84.4 on the back of the biggest record stat total this year, Aaron Rodgers getting 41.3 points, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions against a very good Texans defense. This is absolute bullshit. He allowed... This is pretty surprising as well because Garcon was out with which was not expected at the beginning of the year, beginning of the game. So again, Ashton continues to show off his overrated team that once again went under projections by 30 points. Fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I can't believe you won that fucking game because bullshit. Aaron Rodgers just... Alright, whatever. Paul Ernster actually surprisingly wins against John, which gives him his very first loss of the season, 80.9 to 69.9, with a healthy dose of 18.1 points from Mike Williams and a 13-point game from his kicker, Matt Bryan. This is a surprisingly good game from Mike Williams, and we'll see if he actually is able to continue doing this with Josh Freeman. If that is the case, then Josh Freeman and Mike Williams will start getting a lot more points. So whoever has them, kudos to you. John was severely hurt with a weak running back core, who both of them completed for 13 points. Trent Richardson has had a nagging injury, and that's going to be a concern for him throughout this year. And Andrew Luck looked like a rookie against the Jets, finishing for 5.1 points. We'll see if he bounces back. I have a feeling he will. I have a feeling Reggie Wayne will also get his points back. And John will hopefully win this upcoming week, so I don't have to fucking worry about power rankings. Lion finally won a game for his first one in about 4 games, and this was a good comeback, and luckily we have kept Ramneek defeated, having not won a single game this year. The score for this was 96.8 to 88.1. Calvin Johnson finally fucking played a game and got 14.7 points, and Lions' defense, the Buccaneers, gave him 15 points against the concussed Kansas City Chiefs. Phillip Rivers sucked balls. If you saw that game, it was fucking terrible in the second half, and they deserved to lose, and Ramneek also deserved to lose. He actually only gave him 7.4 points, which, for a guy who was on his way for a Hall of Fame career to where he's at now, we'll see how Turner turns out, but I hope that he gets fired at the end of the year, and we'll see. Stefan made a statement game this week, beating Elias and taking him off the #1 power ranking, 106.6 to 106.2. That's a 0.4 difference. That's probably the closest game that we've had this year. Congrats, Stefan. I was actually waiting to do this video because I was wondering if Elias was going to get points after the fact, like I did when I beat Paul so beautifully last week. Unlike Paul last week, Stefan was able to withstand a -1 point that he was given from his Vikings D, and he was likely able to get a great performance from Wells Welker, who gave him 21.8 points, and survived with Mike the dog-loving Vic, who gave him 24.3 points. Elias got points all over his team, but major fail from his end. He decided to bench Jermaine Gresham and chose Fred Davis, who has been awful this year and has only passed 10 points, I think, once. So shame points on him. If he did have Jermaine Gresham, he would have gotten a +9 points and would have easily beaten Stefan. Jermaine Gresham is averaging, I think, more than 50 yards a game since the past 5 weeks. Fred Davis has been getting only like 3 or 4 interceptions, 3 or 4 receptions for about 30 yards a game for the past 5-6 weeks. Come on, Elias, that was kind of a poor decision from you. But regardless, mad props to Stefan. Now he's back in the game, back in his division, and even though he left RG3 on the bench, who got 37.4 points this past week, he was able to win. A really good game for him. Congrats. Herman finally fucking won a game, beating Ashwin 124.8 to 79.9 points. This was an absolute drubbing. Ashwin's Stephen Ridley got wrecked by the Seahawks defense and only got 3.16 points. This is the guy who had about 100 and something yards last week and 200 yards the week before. So the Seahawks defense would be pretty legit. Be careful whoever's trying to play him this week. Oh, wait, never mind. San Francisco already lost. The tough problem now for Herman is what he's going to do without running back DeMarco Murray. And can he stay competitive in order to actually play in his division? In the subpar game of the week, K-Shit wins a terrible game against Karan, 75.3 to 69.6 points. Karan had only one person making it over 10 points, which is pretty rough. This has got to especially hurt for Karan because he had Jordy Nelson, who had 31.9 points, but he left him on the bench and failed and lost this game. I got to give major props to myself for fucking calling it out last week, K-shit, that LaRod Stevens-Howling sucks balls, and you should have never had put him in the fucking starting role. Because what you saw was Sean Green, the guy that you actually benched, going for 34.1 points. Total dumb fucking move for Bayou, K-shit. And you're an asshole and you're a dumbass. Alright, so now going into the power rankings, there's been a major shift in kind of who's who. At the number 5 spot, we have John Vogelsong dropping 2 points because, 1, you lost this week, and 2, that Trent Richardson injury, first off, he's a rookie, that's going to be a concern, and for him to have a nagging injury, I think it's been 2 to 3 weeks now, doesn't bode well for you. We'll see how it turns out in the next few weeks, but if he doesn't get better, then that's going to severely hurt your chances in playoffs. Number 4 goes to Ashton. This is actually a little surprise for me. Even though you got star-studded potential, again, you didn't live up to your billing. And it's going to happen. I know it will. I'm just waiting for that to happen because you haven't had it happen yet. One thing I am concerned about your team is Pierre Garçon has been out, I think 5 weeks now. So it's starting to look like he's injury prone, and that will determine whether or not he will make a statement. You will make a statement come playoff time. At number 3, and this is the surprising move, I would call Paul. And even though, Ashton, I think you have the better team, Paul beat John, and he was number 5 last week. He gets to move up. And still, Paul, I think you're not as good as Ashton. But you beat John, so who was previously undefeated. So you get third. At number 2, Elias. This was a tough division loss for you, and Stefan's team looks ready to win a bunch of games in a row. Can Elias stay the course? It looks like Darren McFadden is not nearly as good as people expected him. I think he's about 22nd or 23rd overall as running back in fantasy points. And without Matt Ryan this week, can you actually survive the game and win? We'll see. At number 1 goes to K-Shit. This was a big win with lots of points left on the table on his bench. You only get the bump, though, because Elias and John lost. If either of them won, you would still be at number 2. I will say, though, you are looking like you're going to be pretty primed. It looks like the New York Jets offense is starting to lean more towards the run like they used to when they got to the AFC Championships for multiple years. And so it all determines, and it all is based on whether or not Sean Green can be a badass. And I guess this is going to be kind of determined over the next few weeks. Good luck to you. I thought that you were going to probably be a sexy pick come playoff time. I still think that that's the case. All right, going into this week, I'm playing John, and he is the 5.9 point favorite. I do like my chances here. I honestly think anything less than 7 points is kind of up in the air, but then again, I could probably be blown up in every sense of the word this week. People particular that I think is going to be good, John's quarterback, whoever he chooses, because he has 3 on the plate, and well, Marshawn Lynch did his job, but I'm thinking that Alfred Morris could actually have a pretty sexy day. We'll see how it turns out. Paul is playing Lion, and he's the 2.5 point favorite, so I'm calling this up in the air. I think Lion is jizzing with confidence right now because he finally won a fucking game. My predictions, Cam Newton will be fucking wrecked by Dallas's defense unless he actually runs a lot like he did last year. Paul's Adrian Peterson will have a tough game, but will still give him at least 10 points against a very good Cardinals defense. I guess the X factors of the game, Paul's Mike Williams, who I think will probably get at least 15 or 16 points this game, and then Lions Jason Witten, who I think is going to have a really big game this week and kind of solidify him as a top 3 tight end in the league. This week, I'm going with JV's mom. Sorry, Paul. I want you to lose. You're in my division, and you suck. This next game, Ashton is a 37-point favorite over Ramnik, which is kind of a sad, not going to lie, because Ramnik has 5 people on his starting lineup right now who are having a bye. I really don't think Ramnik gives a fuck or if he's actually playing, and if you're actually playing, then you really, really fucking suck in every sense of the word because you haven't won a game yet, and I think our goal is to make sure that you never win a game yet. But if Ashton does somehow lose, it will be a lot of shame. You will automatically be kicked off the power rankings, and but I don't think that's going to be the case. He already got a good game from Gore last night. I think he got like 19 points or some bullshit. Herm is a 22-point favorite over Karan. Couple of things. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a Harvard quarterback, and just like Jeremy Lin, they're probably bound to suck sometime soon. I have a big fear that this is going to be the game that Fitzpatrick is going to give a bunch of fucking interceptions and just ruin it up for the Buffalo Bills, which is a pretty common occurrence for them, let's not going to lie. On Quran's side, I think Andre Johnson will probably have a big game because Ravens no longer have Webb. And Ray Lewis is gone, so it's going to be a bunch of play-action passes off of Matt Schaub. We'll see how that actually turns out. Reggie Wayne is definitely going to get a lot more points than he did last week with Andrew Luck sucking balls. And I think Stafford is actually going to have a pretty big night. I think he plays Monday night. I'm going to throw up an upset here, and I'm going to call Quran for the win. Probably by about 7 points over Herm. Sorry, man. Stefan is actually a 2.3-point favorite over K-Shit. Let's not forget, Quran was favored over K-Shit, and he still won. Hey, Elias, you're not number 1 anymore, just so you know. However, Stefan just slayed Elias last week. Looking at their teams, I got to go with K-Shit. I don't feel comfortable with Michael Bush as a number 2 running back, and I think James Jones will do well against Jeff Fisher and his sick D. And thinking James Jones will do well against Jeff Fisher and his sick defense is positive thinking. Elias is a 27-point underdog against Ashwin. This is probably due to Elias not replacing Matt Ryan yet. You haven't replaced Matt Ryan yet, and you haven't replaced your kicker. You gotta do that.
Ryan's on the bye week.
Yeah, so you gotta fucking replace him this week.
I did. I put him with Carson Palmer.
Okay, I think Eli will go insane against Washington, which is probably going to be happening, and I think Stephen Ridley will get his points back this week. I'm going to take Ashwin, as I think Ashwin is going to be favored by the gods. Anyway, that's this week's recap. Good luck to everyone this week, and hopefully let's see some good upsets.